Susan Lawrence was the kind of neighbor everyone tried to avoid. She constantly complained about noise, shouted at the neighborhood kids, and cursed at them without hesitation. She even put up no trespassing signs around the open green space near her home, a spot where children love to play. Susan frequently called the sheriff's office on her neighbors, escalating tensions within the community. Then, one summer night, everything took a tragic turn. The sheriff's office received yet another call about a disturbance, but before they could arrive, a single gunshot shattered the night. Moments later, a mother of 4 lay dead. This case has captured international attention, and for good reason. But what makes it truly alarming is how a simple neighborhood conflict spiraled out of control, and how a self-defense law could be used to justify the fatal shooting of a mother standing up for her children. Southwest 108th Lane in Ocala, Florida, is a peaceful street lined with uniform homes, each divided into apartment units. These residences sit on spacious lots with greenery in front, and the quiet road is often filled with the laughter of children riding bikes and playing together. Families here look out for each other, sharing the responsibility of supervising their kids as they enjoy the open green space. On the evening of June 2nd, 2023, just before nightfall, the street was alive with excitement. For most of the children, the school year had just ended, and the start of summer break brought an air of celebration. But that joy was suddenly shattered. Just before 9 p.m., a single gunshot echoed through the neighborhood. Residents turned in shock, their eyes drawn to a devastating sight. Ajike Owens, a mother of 4, collapsing outside a neighbor's house just across from her own home. Her 9-year-old son stood beside her, witnessing the unthinkable. What led to this horrific moment? And how did a long-standing neighborhood dispute end in tragedy?
911 was the
The white old lady that lives right there, the one that always calls the cops. Come here, y'all boys, come here, come here. Hey, y'all boys, come here.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
Hey, your mom's laying in the grass or what?
I need you to repeat the address for me to make sure I have it correct.
I don't know what's going on. We just heard a gunshot.
Okay,
We think
sir.
your mom's laying in the grass, but
Sir.
nobody wants to go over there. We ain't trying to get caught.
Sir, this is very important. I need you to repeat the address for me to make sure I have it right.
Hey, y'all boys, back up. It's the old lady that always calls the cops over here.
Sir.
Hey, Izzy, get over here.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am?
I need you to go inside your
Hey,
house
y'all boys, back up.
and lock the door for your safety.
Okay, she's in front of the lady's house. She was knocking on her door.
Okay.
Hey, it's the old lady that always calls the cops over here.
Okay.
Sir, do you see the deputy?
Right there, right here. She's on the ground. Hey, the cops just put up right here. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir.
Terrified parents and shocked neighbors weren't the only ones dialing 911 that night. Inside Unit 3, just beyond the door where Ajike Owens had stood moments earlier, 58-year-old Susan Lawrence also made a frantic and distressed call to emergency services.
Oh my God, this lady just tried to break down my door. I shot through the door. Oh my God.
Okay, repeat that address for me to make sure I have it correct.
They were trying to come in my house.
Okay, take a deep breath for me. Calm down.
Oh my God.
You said someone tried to break down your door, is that correct?
Yes, yes, the woman was screaming and yelling and she was trying to break down my door.
Okay, it was a female?
Yes. I didn't know what to do. I grabbed my gun and I shot at the door. And I thought she was going to get me. Oh my God.
Okay, you said you shot at the door, is that correct?
Yes, I shot at the door because she wouldn't stop. I told her to get away and she wouldn't. She just begging. She's begging. This is the woman who attacked me.
Okay, do you still see the subject?
I don't know where she is. I'm still in my house. I didn't open my door to her.
Did you know her?
Yes, she's come after me several times because of her children. Her children keep trespassing over here. They're bothering me and bothering me. They won't stop.
Is she a neighbor?
Yes.
Deputies from the Marion County Sheriff's Office rushed to the open green, where they discovered Ajike, known as AJ to her friends, clinging to life with a gunshot wound to the chest.
Okay. Where? Bro, where? Ex-military. She's in that house, bro. That apartment. Right here. This first apartment. I need like a tour. We need to do CPR real quick.
Baby, wake up!
CPR.
Baby, wake up!
Let me see. Do we have any pulse?
Neighbors urgently called for Ajike's young sons to stay back. While the community remained on high alert for the woman they all knew as the shooter, their notoriously disliked neighbor, Susan Lawrence. When officers arrived, they were quickly directed to her door.
All right. Sheriff's office, come outside with your hands up! This is the Marion County Sheriff's Office, come outside with your hands up! Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Turn around! Turn around! Where's your gun at? You got hands? You got hands? You're going to be detained. Is there anybody else in the house?
There's somebody else in the house. Can I just get my
No, not right now.
All right.
You're not under arrest, you're being detained.
Okay, I understand.
Come over here.
Oh, wait, please close the door. I have two cats inside.
Hold
I
on.
don't want the cats to run out.
Before detectives arrived at the scene, deputies started gathering details and reconstructing the events of that fateful evening. A single bullet hole pierced the door of Susan Lawrence's unit, evidence that she had fired her gun from inside her living room directly at her 35-year-old neighbor standing just outside. Ajike Owens, a mother of 4, received emergency medical attention at the scene before being rushed to the hospital, where she tragically succumbed to her injuries. Susan Lawrence was taken into custody immediately, but no formal charges were filed at the time. Florida's controversial Stand Your Ground law allows residents to defend themselves inside their own homes without a duty to retreat, provided there is a legitimate and reasonable fear of serious bodily harm or death. Amid the chaos of the emergency response, one critical question remained unanswered. What led Susan Lawrence to make the devastating choice to pull the trigger?
Right, that's fine. We'll figure it out, all right?
Hi. Okay, so I'm going to record my all-time favorite song for you guys. It's called The Green Grass Grows All Around. Yeah, I'm bored. So, here we go. Down in the ground, there was a hole, the prettiest.
Ajike Owens was a dedicated mother to 4 children, ranging in age from just 3 years old to 12. She was known for her kindness and unwavering commitment to her family, always willing to lend a hand to friends and neighbors. Those who knew her remember her as a warm and compassionate person who strived to lead by example, fostering positivity and a strong spiritual foundation for both herself and her children.
All right? All right. God bless y'all. Be encouraged. And pray my strength in these edges.
On the evening of June 3rd, AJ walked across the street to confront Susan about the way she had treated and spoken to her children. 2 of AJ's sons reported that Susan had thrown a roller skate at them, and possibly even an iPad. This wasn't the first conflict between the 2 neighbors. Susan Lawrence, 58, lived alone with no children of her own. She had been renting her apartment next to the open green for 3 years, and for at least 2 of those, she had frequently complained to law enforcement, to neighbors, and to anyone willing to listen about the noise from children playing nearby. In an attempt to keep them off the grass, she had her landlord put up no trespassing signs at the edge of the property, though they did little to deter the kids. Tensions had been brewing long before that summer night. In early 2022, Susan accused AJ of striking her with one of the no trespassing signs, claiming it was an attack. However, witnesses recalled the confrontation as intense but not violent.
Well, because the lady across the street on the phone hit me with the sign.
You already know?
That she called the police on you?
Yeah.
One of Susan's frequent complaints was that AJ's children let their dog roam on the green without cleaning up after it.
Her children were walking their dog on the property. It clearly says no trespassing, and they're always walking the dog.
AJ informed the police that Susan had threatened her sons, warning them that if they continued playing on the green, she would have them arrested.
I'm the one that never comes outside and says anything terrible. She comes outside to go to the car or something, she sees him. Oh, I told you I'm going to have you arrested.
In December 2022, deputies responded to yet another call from Susan. This time, she claimed that the children had ignored her "no trespassing" sign again and, to her frustration, had stolen it. She also had another confrontation with AJ.
Hello. Hi,
Sheriff's office.
Hi.
What's going on this evening?
Lots of children screaming their full heads off, running around. I had my truck parked in front here, so I didn't have to listen to the screaming and yelling. As soon as I moved the truck, the kids were coming up. I'm like, guys, stop. They know they're not supposed to be over here. They've been told many times. They've previously stolen the trespassing sign. And the little kid tells me to shut up to my face. I said, don't be disrespectful to me. And he's exchanging words back and forth. I'm like, listen, my name is Dr. Williams. Don't tell me to shut up. And he was calling me names. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. I said, go wherever you live. All of a sudden, no. His mother comes over here. If you treat my son like that again, I'm going to rip your ass out and go beat you up. Excuse me? I don't bloody well think so. And I said, see that no trespassing sign? Get off my porch. And no, I'm not going to. I said, now I'm calling the sheriff's department. I don't know who the hell she was, but.
Do you know where she lives?
I guess somewhere in there.
Do you know what she looks like?
She was black in 20s, 30s, but I'm not going to take this.
Subsequent calls to the police from Susan did little to ease the growing tension. In fact, there was little law enforcement could do to address the noise from the neighborhood children playing. Susan's accusations that the kids were antagonizing her, damaging her truck, or endangering her safety by leaving toys near the sidewalk were met with strong rebuttals from the parents, who insisted that she, not the children, was the real problem.
Kids keep running back and forth over here. When the kids are out front, it's really noisy. For some reason, they love to play over here. Oh, guys.
Probably because it's open.
I understand that. I have migraines, horrible migraines. I had a very bad car wreck. I don't want to hear these children. The kids are not hurting anybody. The kids, they're not damaging anything. Well, they're damaging me because the migraines are so bad. Most days I could barely stand. Come on. I mean, they literally live across the street on the other side. They don't.
I understand what you're telling me, and I get it. But you don't have sole power to say, hey, they can't be in this parking lot.
He's trespassing right now. He's trespassing.
He came over to come ask us a question.
And he's
what do you need us to do? What do you want us to do?
I mean, he needs to get, because he's screaming all the time too.
Okay.
He just needs to get off.
And I was trying to reason with her one day because we were all playing here. The kids, everything jumping. All right, let's go. And she's like, hey, you know what? One day you guys are going to die. And I'm like, and that's when I whoa.
I'm getting too much feedback on the phone from the dog.
I'm sorry?
Go someplace where he's not barking. Please, I'm getting too much feedback. I can't hear my customers. Dog. Tapping.
It's a dog. We can't stop the dog from barking.
Yeah, but it's too much feedback. Can you please at least go someplace where I'm not getting so much feedback?
That's
all right, well, you have a good one. Apparently, we can't stay here and have a conversation with Shane.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
That's what I'm saying. She's out over there, right?
The final complaint Susan made to the police came in a 911 call placed just minutes before she shot and killed Ajike Owens. On the call, Susan again claimed that the children were on her property, making noise and leaving their belongings around. She was informed that deputies were on their way to investigate. Shortly after hanging up, AJ appeared at Susan's door, demanding they address how she had been treating the children. 2 minutes after disconnecting from 911, Susan walked into her bedroom, where she kept 2 handguns in the bottom of a wastebasket. She retrieved her Remington 380 and, armed with the gun, returned to the living room where AJ was shouting at her from the other side of the door. Without warning, Susan fired, then immediately called 911 again. In the aftermath of AJ's death, with Susan still not arrested, a community movement quickly took shape, calling for swift justice. AJ's family and their supporters saw no reason for delay, insisting that Susan Lawrence should have been arrested and charged right away.
The field is a public field. We live in an apartment complex. Nobody owns anything. We all lease. And even the field is big, so, it's really big. Even when they play out there, they don't play on the side where her apartment is. They play on the other side to avoid all this confusion, but she comes out anyways. Anytime the kids are out there, she's coming outside. She antagonizes the kids. She calls them names, slaves, racial slurs, all kinds of stuff. All of the children.
Did she say something to your children?
Yes, she says stuff to everybody's children. She's told them.
Justice for AJ! Justice for AJ! And we hope that the state attorney will consider these witness statements from those neighbors who lived in that apartment complex, who had to deal with this woman who antagonized their children on a systematic basis.
We had only one side of the story, okay? We know that she shot through the door. Of course, on her side of the story, she makes claims that her life was being threatened. And the way the laws are written in this state, and this is what people need to understand, is our hands are tied in law enforcement in these cases where we are instructed that we cannot make the arrest because we have to rule out whether the shooting was justified or unjustified. So one of the biggest things is the interview of witnesses, and some of our witnesses were the mother's kids. And obviously we were not going to interview them that night. We know the direction is going and we can't give out information, and it's difficult because here's the truth. Did we want to make the arrest that night? Absolutely we did. There's no doubt about it. It's tragic when we see somebody that just shoots through a door and shoots another human being really just because of a neighborhood squabble.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here because I was freezing.
Oh, it's Julian, isn't it? Susan?
Yes.
And I'm Detective Stiff. This is Detective Peterson.
Okay.
When 58-year-old Susan Lawrence spoke with detectives, she repeatedly insisted that she had feared for her life when AJ approached her door. Susan described the young mother as aggressively pounding on the door, claiming that at that moment, AJ had threatened to kill her.
So what happened tonight that led to the conclusion that...
Well, I'm like, kids go home. So they go home, and then all of a sudden she comes out, and she is just banging on my door. I'm like, go away. I'm not dealing with you tonight. And then she started banging so hard, everything started shaking. And I'm like, you really need to leave. And then I'm going to kill you. And she's just banging away. You know, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Ever since she has actually harmed me, I'm like, it just keeps getting worse and worse. I'm like, I don't know what to do with her. And she banged so hard, it looked like my door was going to fly off. And I panicked. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's really going to kill me this time, you know. And so I don't even actually remember picking up the gun. I just remember shooting.
Where do you keep the gun usually?
It's in my bedroom.
She came to your door?
Oh, yeah.
And she was
pounding on it. I was like, what the hell? My cats went flinging.
What was she saying? Was she saying anything?
You don't talk to my sons. I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know. And I was like in tears. I'm like shaking. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I thought she had gone away. And then she starts banging again. I'm like, oh, shit.
After some time in the interview room, detectives informed Susan that her neighbor, AJ, was dead.
Is that what happened? I mean, we got to kind of get specific about this because it's a big deal.
I understand.
Someone's dead.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So that's why I say it's important to be specific and honest about everything. So.
This was an absolute, it's either me or her. I mean, it's just like, I'm like, holy shit.
But did you see her with a gun or another weapon or anything like that?
But I don't know what she had on the outside. You know, when my lights were off, you know, so she came up, it was dark out. And I'm like, great, now she's pounding on my door. Now she's scaring the crap out of me. You know, now my door's moving, and I didn't have it properly secured. And the next thing I thought she was going to be in my house, you know, killing me. I mean, that's honest to God what I felt. You know, it's not like, you know, I'm fed up or anything. This was a real fear.
Ajike Owens was unarmed when she approached Susan Lawrence's home. Witnesses reported that she initially knocked on the sliding glass doors before moving to the front door, which was locked and deadbolted. Not a single neighbor overheard AJ threatening to kill Susan, though many could hear her shouting. Some neighbors stated that they only heard AJ calling for Susan to come outside and address her. while others found the words unclear. Susan, however, claimed that AJ's banging on the door was so intense it made the walls shake. She further stated that the door frame had been damaged in the past, making the lock less secure, though it had been repaired. Susan believed that AJ's forceful knocking could break through the door. Crime scene analysts did find evidence of prior damage to the frame, which Susan's landlord suspected was caused by the door being slammed in the past, although he couldn't say for certain. Investigators also noted that the door and locks appeared to be in good working condition at the time of the incident.
And why don't you admit if it was the other way around and a black woman had shot through a door at a white kid, you would have arrested her that night? They were shooting at all our mamas. And we can't let this go.
After several days with no arrest, calls for action intensified. A coordinated march through downtown Ocala, ending at the state attorney's office in the courthouse, sent a powerful message: arrest Susan Lawrence. 4 days after the shooting, the 58-year-old was brought in for questioning once again.
I was like, stop, go away, move away, you should move away. And finally, I'm going to kill you, and that was the last time, and I just fired the weapon.
Okay, was there a spot you picked or something like that?
I just kind of, there was the door, I knew she was at the door, shot.
So since the last time.
Susan repeated that she never intended to kill AJ, claiming she shot high, assuming she wouldn't hit her. As the interview continued, detectives grew curious about her choice of words. Susan referred to AJ's behavior as imprudent and unreasonable, stating she felt in mortal danger. This led the detectives to ask if she had been researching Florida's self-defense laws, and if so, when, before or after, she shot and killed Ajike Owens. Susan revealed that she had bought her first handgun, the Remington she used that night, a year and a half prior. The second handgun had been purchased just a few months before the incident. She explained that her decision to buy the firearms was, at least in part, driven by a desire to protect herself in her new home.
What did you feel that was going to happen?
And she's going to come in there and beat the shit out of me until I was dead.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I felt. I mean, I don't understand why she came over my house. If there was all these issues and problems, why didn't you just call somebody? You know, that's, to me, that's what you would do if you're normal.
You're smart, okay. And the reason is...
Oh, hell no. No, absolutely. I know what you're thinking. Did I look up the laws so I could do something? No, absolutely.
This is not a situation where you set something up to because you were tired of this person. You were tired of the situation that they put you in.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Susan admitted to researching another case that involved the Stand Your Ground law as a defense, though she claimed she only did so the day before. She said she had read a couple of articles on Facebook. Investigators later discovered that she had searched for the specific language of the state law online and had quoted it back to them during the interview.
Hello, everyone. Sheriff Billy Woods here. I wanted to come to you tonight to give you an update on the homicide that occurred over the weekend. Tonight, we have arrested 58-year-old Susan Lawrence for the killing of Miss Ajike Owens. Now, many of you were struggling to understand why there was not an immediate arrest. And that's one of the things. My detectives cannot complete an investigation without getting all sides of a story. And that night, all we had was one person's story, and that was the shooter's story. But Miss Owens' story had to be told through evidence and the eyes of witnesses who were there.
On June 6, 2023, Susan was charged with the killing of Ajike Owens, a decision that left both the family and the community who supported them feeling disappointed. The state explained that they could not pursue a second-degree murder charge, as the district attorney believed there was insufficient evidence to prove Susan's intent to kill when she fired. Instead, she was charged with first-degree manslaughter. The prosecution argued that while Susan did not intend to kill Ajike, she had fired with reckless disregard for human life. Her trial was set to take place in the summer of the following year.
I was asking for a speedy trial as I'm not getting care in jail. I'm running blood pressures of 200 over 100, and I'm just afraid I'm going to die because they're not caring for me at all.
The trial began in August 2024.
The defendant believed that Ajike was going to break down that door and kill her, but you're also going to hear the defendant say that Ajike was at the door that evening saying, I want to speak to you because I don't like the way you're talking to my sons. At the end of this case, you're going to hear that the defendant, Susan Lawrence, knowing the police were around, was in her apartment with the door locked and shot through that locked front door and killed Ajike Owens, who was unarmed.
And in Susan's mind, in Susan's heart, in Susan's soul, in Susan's core, she feels like AJ is going to come in, pulverize her. So she shoots the fire. And you hear evidence that the magazine of that gun can carry 6 bullets, but Susan only fired once. She didn't fire twice, she didn't fire 3 times, not 4 times, not 5, not 6 times. Once. In order to save her life.
The jury heard testimonies from neighborhood children and their parents about Susan's behavior leading up to the shooting. They described instances where she threw a roller skate at one child, tossed an iPad, and even attempted to strike them with an umbrella. When the children threatened to tell their mother, Susan reportedly responded with, "Go ahead, I don't care." Accusations that Susan had used racial slurs towards the children in the past were excluded from the trial, as introducing this information could potentially bias the jury and create grounds for an appeal if Susan were convicted. However, jurors did hear about other alleged incidents in which she had used offensive language towards the local children. Susan chose not to testify in her own defense, and instead, jurors saw her version of the events through her videotaped interviews, during which she continued to complain about the children and speak negatively about AJ. 2 neighbors were called to testify about the loud banging they heard on Susan's door that night, including Ivan Costa from Unit 4, who shared a wall with Susan's apartment.
Started shaking and like pounding on the wall. And it really scared me.
Okay. How long after you heard the door slam did you hear that pounding?
Very shortly, within a few minutes.
How would you describe the pounding?
It was very loud, and it scared me because the wall was shaking.
When you heard the banging, what was your first thought of who was causing that?
I thought Susan was banging on the wall.
Did you later come to learn that that was not the case?
Yes.
Okay.
What did you hear?
I heard a lot of pounding, a lot of yelling, screaming, and then I heard a gunshot.
Did you hear a lot of pounding on a door like it was going to be pushed down?
Yes.
Did you call it like a cop knock?
That's what I call it.
Was it very loud?
Very loud.
Did you hear anyone screaming?
Yes, I heard a woman's voice screaming. To me, it sounded like she was screaming words, but I could not understand any of the words.
Was there a lot of pounding on the door?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether AJ's knocking on the door was intimidating, the prosecution argued that there was no genuine threat. Susan's first 911 call that evening had ended just 2 minutes before she fired, and she had been told that the police were on their way. Charles Gabbard, the landlord, testified that he had repaired a jam on the front door before the incident. He confirmed that the door was structurally sound after the repair, despite some cosmetic damage. The door had a chain, deadbolt, and lock, though only the chain was not in use on the night of the shooting. The trial concluded within a week, and the jury deliberated for 2.5 hours.
I'm going to have the clerk read the verdict.
Verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find as to count 1 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of manslaughter. Did the state prove beyond...
Outside the courthouse, AJ's mother, Pamela Dassis, expressed her gratitude to the jury for their service and for reaching what she believed was the right decision.
Testimony, the interrogation, where she showed no remorse, continues to show no remorse. displayed the utmost care and concern for her cats. And she literally had just shot and killed a mom of 4, rendering them with their entire support system, their everyday childhood experiences, future, just gone, just like that.
AJ's children are now staying with family members and are reportedly doing as well as can be expected given the circumstances. At 60 years old, Susan Lawrence faces a potential sentence of up to 30 years. As of the time of publication, this sentence has not yet been determined.
The prettiest nest that you ever did see. Let me see your nest. Well, the nest on the branch, and the branch on the tree, and the tree in the hole, and the hole in the ground. Green grass grows all around, all